welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another episode of the Fresh Crits of Melbourne. You are here with your host, as always, Steve Flack, and today we have got something special in the mix because, ladies and gentlemen, you are now entering a 4-part extravaganza. It's Game of Thrones. It's got a storyline like the Game of Thrones, although the last season was pretty shit. This is a 4-part series, all because Caulfield Carnegie are putting on the John Hollingworth Cup. And basically what that means is there are intermediate sprint points throughout the race too. In fact, throughout the race, where you can collect points which go towards your overall score. So the way it works is there's intermediate sprints, top 3 get points, and then at the end of the race, if you're in the top 10, you're coming home with points, baby. So get stuck in because it's going to be an absolute cracking race. As you can see, because there's already a couple of breaks launching off the front. But before I get into that, let's talk a little bit about where we are, what we're doing here, and what it's all about. So, as you know, we're at Glenvale once again with Caulfield Carnegie Cycling Club, B grade, kicking off at 9 o'clock. But please get down there earlier because the A grade girls and also the juniors are off as well, and there's some pretty good racing going on there. Now, the one thing about this race, I've never seen so many people on bikes before. Well, I have, that's a lie. But there was about, correct me if I'm wrong, 60, 70 people in this race. It was a huge field. And for that reason, it was fast, a little bit sketchy, but very safe. Now, talking about being safe, I'm in a break already. The race has been going on for about 30 seconds and we're already in a break. Captain Safety, Mr. Sweden, is off the front. So this group launched an attack and I was in a good spot just to jump on. I know it was very early. The legs obviously were feeling pretty fresh, but it had a good consistency of riders. And that's what you want to look for in the group. We've got a couple of really strong guys here. And I'm only quite small. Well, I guess I'm average height. What am I, 178? It's always nice to be sitting in behind some big units here because they provide a fantastic draft. So we're going to stick with Captain Sweden and the rest of the crew here. And let's see how this one turns out. So after about 2 and a bit laps, I'll be generous, we got caught. And as you can see, the group is coming in at a mile of knots. And when something like this has happened and you have been caught in the break, and people have started to sit up a little bit, it's really important that you bring yourself up to speed so that when the group finally catches up to you, it's not like you are stopped at a dead standstill. You are easily able to jump on if there are any counterattacks or moves that are in the mix. So we're here passing D grade, I think, on the left-hand side. We've got to make sure we give them plenty of room, plenty of space as we get round the corner. And already you can see that there are guys launching attacks left, right, and center. And, you know, you got to make your mind up. Are these attacks worth jumping in? We're only very early in the race. We've seen so far that nothing's getting let through. So is it worth, jumping on? Maybe it'll stick, maybe it won't. Or just sitting in the wheels. You've already been in one break already. You don't have to be in absolutely everything. Let's conserve your energy because we got still 35 Ks to go. All right, guys, we're going to pick this one up. 30 Ks to go. As we can see, the guy in black kit launches an attack off the front. Because I'm in a good position, I'm up near the front of the bike race. It allows me to watch a couple of wheels go by and allows me to tag on to the cycle house rider in the beautiful looking Scott bike. So I'm able to jump on here and still, although I'm maybe a bike length away, still be able to get a nice little draft. And you can see in the rear cam, the entire group is strung out. The guy in the white helmet in my rear cam looks like he's really struggling to stay on the wheel. And when the pace is at 50 kilometers an hour, yeah, it's going to be hard. We're pushing out 400 watts just to stay in the slipstream. So yeah, the pace is going to be high, but look, whoever launched that attack looks like they might have got caught or the team or the group let them go. But this is where those repeat effort comes in. So I'm just see this yellow rider in front of me now. He launches an attack just at almost a perfect moment. The entire group had slowed down. We were reaching that little uphill segment and steps on it. 461 watts, absolutely no messing. And straight away creates a gap. So as we come into this corner, it's an interesting one. You can see I'm way too close. And basically that's forced me wide and out of the draft. So I believe correct me if I'm wrong, the proper cornering technique, especially in a high-speed course like this, is give a little bit of space to the rider in front of you. 1, max 2 bike lengths in front of you, because as you come into that corner, you're going to be sitting in the person's draft in front, and it's naturally going to spit you out faster than you come in. So right this moment, you can see yellow jersey's flicking his elbow for me to come past, and I'm cooked. I'm on the absolute limit, so I just shout at him.
A little bit more, man. You're almost there.
Now, full disclaimer, obviously this is not something you should be doing all the time. You have to contribute to the group, otherwise everyone's probably going to hate you. But you'd be surprised a lot of the times if it's fighting for wheels or driving someone in front of you, people generally listen to instructions when there is no blood left in your head. It's all in your legs. So for that example, I just shouted at him, keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. Lots of encouragement. And it seems to work because he comes out of this corner and steps on it again, ramping up to 500 watts. I don't know how the mad boy's done it, but he has. But he's managed to bridge across to the group in front of us. Ultimately about maybe a 5-second gap originally. So it was a huge effort. And I'm fortunate enough to sit in the entire time, keep my legs pretty fresh, although my heart rate's pretty high. But essentially being able to bridge all the way across to the group in front and kept myself fresh. So we're going to pick it up at the end of this lap where sprint points are on. All right, we're going to pick this up just as that lap was finishing, and you could hear the whistle blown by the race commissioner. Don't know what they're called. And that's signaling that this sprint, that whoever crosses the line, first, second, and third, get sprint points that goes towards the cup. So I'm thinking, well, first sprint points, I'm in a pretty good spot here. I'm in a group of, 5 of us? And there's no group behind us, so why not put myself in the best possible position I can be and, soak up all the points. I've stayed pretty fresh throughout the entire race. I've been in one break and been able to be bridged across by this superhuman effort in the yellow kit. So for me, it was an absolute no-brainer. So it's like almost the situation has been set up perfectly. I'm 4th wheel coming into the sprint. I know yellow jersey's going to be absolutely cooked. And it doesn't really look like anyone goes for it. So I just launch it straight up the middle. And I have a look around and no one's really contesting. It all looks pretty good. I'm in the clear. I hardly wasted any efforts there and picked up total points on the first sprint point. So very, very happy with that result. That's a big tick for me. Something I was looking to do coming into this race. It just so happened that it was in a good situation in the first place. But look, like with anything, these sort of situations, you don't just happen magically. It's because you're staying at the front of the race is what causes this sort of thing to happen. So without further ado, we'll skip ahead a little bit further into something where we all get back together again. All right, so I haven't done much introducing of anybody in this race so far, so this is a good time to do it. So let's look at, this is Jordy in black kit, white aero socks, mountain bike gloves because he doesn't like fingerless. So he's basically, we're rolling, the group's all back together. There's not really much happening. And he just starts driving the pace off the front, 56, 57 kilometers an hour. Obviously, it's a tailwind. But look, 300 and something watts, sometimes jumping up to 400. He is absolutely driving the pace. And I'm relatively new to the whole crit racing scene, but this is a guy who I haven't seen too much of and definitely someone that we need to watch out for because he's an absolute jet. His ability to just drive the pace for 8-10 minutes at a time is insane. I'm not too sure if he has a kick. I hope he doesn't, but what he does have is this ability just to grind and grind and grind for about 8 to 10 minutes, and that's all you need is a short little 31 minute effort to bridge a gap and then get comfortable into your FTP and slowly just ride away from the group. And that's exactly what he has done here. As you can see, he launched a little attack. I was fortunate enough to jump on. My legs were feeling okay. And all of a sudden, there's been a split in the group and we are happy days. Now, What's not good is I'm looking down at my Garmin and seeing a heart rate of 188. Now, that's not sustainable, and it doesn't take, and I know I'm about to pop. Like, it's only a matter of time. I see him double flick the elbows saying he's getting out of the saddle, and I'm like, there's not a chance I'm going to jump onto this. This is ridiculous. So I'm happy to let him get away. I ducked my head in disappointment that I wasn't able to pull through and let the other guys sit up a little bit, recover, because we've got another whole bunch of sprint points and the final race to come through. So I'm happy to let that break go, let the group work together to try to bring it back. But that's Jordy, ladies and gentlemen. What a beast. You know what that means. We have sprint points on the table for the next time we come through that start-finish line. So, you know, I was fortunate enough to take home first points in the last sprint. So I want to kind of do that once again because, you know, I'm in a good position. So why not? Let's try to take this out. So I'm currently sitting at about fifth wheel, which I believe when you are only just across the start-finish line is in a really, really good spot to be because you don't want to be hitting the front too early, because then you're going to have to lead everybody out, which is not what you want to do. But for some bizarro reason, I decided to sneak up the inside, which is obviously not great because essentially dive bombing everyone. But it's also a dumb thing to do because I've now put myself at the very front of the race as I kick it up to 800 watts. I'm thinking maybe I can break away and just get away, but obviously that's not going to happen. So now, coming into the last straight, I found myself on the front and as you can see in the shadow, I'm looking all around. I'm trying to find out where people are coming from. I look the wrong way, and I hear these guys coming up on the inside, so I have to step on it, going up to 1200 watts. And because of that stupid mistake, I pick up second, just with a throw on the line, and now I'm sufficiently cooked. Heart rate at 192. I'm absolutely maxed out. I basically am soft pedaling right now, and it's not looking good for me here because, as you soon start to see, I'm getting absolutely swarmed. Like I spoke about earlier on in the piece, there was about 70-something riders in this race. And I quickly find myself falling further and further and further behind because I'm absolutely cooked from a bit of an all-out effort trying to lock in second of those sprint points. This is a very dangerous spot to be because if you're falling this far back and you're not able to recover quick enough, there is a chance that you are going to find yourself off the back and out of the race completely. Already there's been a couple of counterattacks being launched after that sprint, which is genius because the whole group is slowed down. But now you can see I'm right at the back of the race. And what I wanted to highlight here, I guess, is how I move myself back up in the field. There's a few different ways we can go about it, but I think the biggest thing you need to tell yourself is just relax. You don't need to panic. There's still plenty of time to move up. So let's skip ahead and we see how it's done. All right, so we're going to pick this one up 2Ks. Only 2Ks later, and I've been able to move myself up, 1 to 5 wheels at every corner and found a couple of really nice wheels to sit on to, slowly start to move yourself up in the field. But, throughout that time, I'm saying to myself, just relax, take it easy. The time will come. And that time is pretty much right now. You can see the pace is starting to drop. Remember, we do have a tailwind. I'm not doing any watts. I'm not even touching the pedals. And I'm just riding on the outside, dabbing up a little bit. And I'm all right at the front of the bike race. So that just shows you, you don't need to be always pushing to get to the front when things are all really strung out and really, really fast. But instead, just find the right moment. Just wait, because that moment will come. It's just making sure that you're in the right position to get out of any sort of trouble, not allow yourself to be boxed in, so you can move freely around the group. All right, so we're going to pick this one up from just 2 kilometers to go. Things are coming to the final conclusion of this race almost. As you can see on the right-hand side, Jordy has just gone again, ladies and gentlemen. He's launched another attack, and this one was a ripper because basically he sits off the front now and establishes a really good gap. And the scary thing is for the rest of the group is we essentially only have 2 kilometers in order to shut this one down. And if the peloton is not cooperating, he's staying away 100% of the time. But let's just see how that works out. This is a little bit of a sketchy moment we had. I came up the inside, probably not ideal, but I got caught overlapping a wheel as the rider in front swings out to the left-hand side. I come and tap wheels with the Bianchi rider, and lucky that no one went down. So this is the thing, crits racing can be a little bit dangerous. I put myself in a sketchy position there, to be honest. I didn't expect that rider at the front to come veering left after he made a left-hand turn. Normally you stay nice and wide, but so be it. We all managed to stay rubber side down, and let's skip ahead to the very back end of this race to see how everything plans out. No more whistles, just bells that signal that this is the final lap. And I found myself on about fourth wheel. Jordy is still up the road, and he has a really, really good gap. He's been out there for a couple of laps now, so he is definitely, has to be starting to fade because he's put in so many efforts. Driving the pace right now, we've got yellow shirt, but as you can see, he's starting to tire as well. He's done some huge efforts throughout this race. And then in comes Mr. Alan Crawford on the white, specialized in the teal and black Nicks. He comes in and he wants to grab this race and put it into his own hands. So he gets onto the front and just rips an absolute massive pull. You can see us averaging 51 kilometers an hour right now. And this is turning into the perfect lead out. Alan, send me your email address. I'm going to sign you to my team. We come into that final straight right now, and I'm in the perfect position. I know I've got 240 meters left to the finish line, so I absolutely step on it. On my right-hand side, I've got a guy coming up really, really close, but I think I'm going to hold on. I throw at the line. I take home first, and I'm absolutely stoked. That was one of the best races I think I've raced in. It was, a little bit sketchy, but I think, and I definitely wasn't the strongest person out there by absolutely no means, but because I was able to put myself in good positions and surfed wheels and stayed up near the front, it allowed me to respond and sit in drafts and take care of myself in this race. So that's pretty much a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed this one. I had an absolute ball watching it, mainly because I won. But I cannot wait for next week. Like I said, this is going to be a 4-part series where we look at all the different, over the next 4 weeks, we'll look at the different races down at Caulfield for the John Hollingworth Cup. Stay tuned. If you like this sort of stuff, please hit that like button. If you want to see more, smash the subscribe button. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. Ciao.